Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, whenever it is you're viewing this. This is the COVID Conversations. My name is Kyl Reber. I'm in my backyard in beautiful Brisbane, Queensland. I'm still wearing a hoodie, even though it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which is good for me. This is just a conversation with some friends of mine that I've known for a long time or a short time or a little bit of time, just to have a chat to them in all different facets of their life and what they're doing in the world and how this little thing called COVID is treating them. Now, with me today is a man that I've known for a little bit of time, and in that time I've gotten to know him to be such a good human. He's worn a lot of hats in his many years. He's just had his 27th birthday, times by a couple more. But anyway, we'll let you. He's been involved in martial arts for a long time, and he's had a couple of different vocations that we'll talk about more later. But Brett Ritchie, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good, thank you, Kyl Reber. And mate, it's an absolute honour to be one of your guests on COVID Conversations. There's a song in that.
He's got all the gear, folks, and he's making me look like quite the amateur. But you can't see that his phone's being held up by a piece of gaffer tape on his computer screen right now.
Lots of gaffer tape is on that phone right now.
I told him in my previous life, gaffer tape and cable ties were how we solved a lot of problems. Brett, I guess I'll cut right to the chase because I have a fair bit of stuff that I do want to talk to you about. So let's get stuck into it. As I said, it's not still daylight here, so it's too early for anything stronger. G'day, mate. The barbecue intro. My name's Kyle. What do you do, mate? What's your name?
Okay, Kyle, mate. My name's Brett. Kyle, I've got a health and safety training company called National Workplace Safety. And I do health and safety investigations, return to work coordinator stuff, safety advisor, auditor, workplace trainer, run a lot of online face-to-face training, and now just getting into the online stuff as well. So, yeah, it's good fun.
And how long you been in that for, Brett?
About the last 20 years now.
Jesus. You'd be
I know.
kind of
I'm
good
old.
at it by now.
I've got a vague idea. I never say you're an expert, but I've got a vague idea about it.
Let's go back even further, Brett. I was in we were having our quarantinis a week or two ago, and I had some people that were hanging on the edge of wherever they were sitting, listening to some of your stories of days go by. You've been involved in Zendo Kai and BJMA, you said, for 43 years. Now, I mean, there's been times where you've been out a bit and back in a bit, but you've been around. So 77 you started. That's 1977, people, by the way.
Yeah, yes. Makes me sound really old, doesn't it?
Well, you know.
I am.
I'll give you do you want me to tell you that means I was 2 when you started? Or?
Yeah, no. I'm doing what the Chiefs doing. I stopped at 55 and I'm going backwards now.
Nice one. So you told some really good stories and you've seen a lot in that time. You a lot of the guys I've interviewed, obviously, and girls, martial artists, but you were there in the fabled mythical days of the Elizabeth Street dojo.
Oh, I wasn't at Elizabeth Street. I wasn't a 48er. I was a 272. I think it was 272 Little Collins Street.
272. So that sort of time, I guess. Was it just a time where for you might have been a bit normal, but now you go like the times you talk about, you go, it was almost like, I don't know, the Colosseum, the gladiators.
Oh, mate, it was a Colosseum most training nights, I tell you. It was it wasn't kill or be killed. It was really hard. It was you earned your stripes early, if you hung around long enough, people started saying, okay, well, he's been here a while now, so he's got some vague idea about what's going on. But it was, when I walked in there as a 16-year-old, I was working in the city. I left school at, I don't know, late 15. When I was 15, I think I didn't enjoy school that much, and they didn't enjoy me being there. So the coordinator and I had an agreement I'd leave before he tried to kill me again. So, yeah. So I was working in the city, and a mate of mine who I used to go to school with guy called Craig Ward. He trained really before me. He was a black belt at, I think he was a junior black belt, and he was training down in Springvale, I think, and maybe at the Hombu. I don't know if he was at Elizabeth Street, if he ever went into there, but so we were around the same age. So he did his black belt, and I always used to ask him about his cross around his neck. I said, "What's that bloody thing you've got?" And he said, "Oh, it's just a family cross. It's like, it's called a Bushido cross, the Way of the Warrior." And I said, "Oh, okay. How do you get one of them?" And he goes, "Well, you can't buy them." He said, "You get presented with them." And I said, "Okay. What do you have to do?" And he said, "Well, train." And I went, "Okay." So I was working in the city, and one day after work, about 4:30, I wandered down the road. It was literally 400 metres from where I worked. And I wandered in and climbed the stairs up I'm pretty sure it was 272 Little Collins. And I heard all screaming and yelling, and I walk in the door, and there was these people lined up in geese, and there was this bloke at the front with his flaming red hair and moustache, and he was giving commands and like this powerful voice, and I was mesmerised. I stood there and went, "What the hell is what?" I've walked into some cult, and yeah, it was the chief was at the front and taking the class, and it was spiritual. I don't know. It was pretty moving, and I just said, I went to the guy. They said, "Oh, I want to do karate." He goes, "Yeah, mate, no worries, sign here." So I signed up, and that was pretty much it. That's how it started. And yeah, 43 years later, I'm still involved, which I feel absolutely blessed about, to be still involved in such a wonderful organisation.
Well, you talk about like the hard, like it was hard and that sort of thing. But I guess back then, and again, there's no reflection on anything. And I've spoken to people who've been involved in the style a long time. But back then, it was just that was just what you did, wasn't it? There was no there was no knowing any different. That was you saw that and went, well, that's normal, so we'll do that.
That's normal. It's normal to go home with bleeding nose or a broken rib or whatever. And like I was 16, and there was guys there. Like every night you were training, like Richard was there a lot, Dave Berry, Roman Newbacker, obviously Billy was there. And yeah, I just go, wow, George Zach in the early days. So they were just the people you trained with. And Brad Baisley used to kick me to death because I was tall, like I'm, fairly tall. So he would go, "If you can kick me in the head." So he would a lot. and it was just that's the way it was, and it was just no one complained. Everyone just got on with it, loved it. We used to have Saturday morning training sessions. I think they were called street fighting sessions. We just go into the city and into the Hombu and learn street fighting techniques from the chief and whoever else was there, and that was just the stuff I learned then literally saved my life years later in the police force. So the stuff I learned then from the chief and Billy and Richard and a guy called Glenn Ruland who was around then. One night was, okay, this is how to defend yourself when you're on the floor. I know you guys, you love your jiu-jitsu and lots, and it's, for me now, that's just, okay, if I'm on the floor, mate, I'm stuffed. But it was, Glenn said, right, lay on the ground. And he said, we're going to get people around you and we're going to attack you. And I went, okay, that sounds really good. But they were really attacking. Like there was controlled attacking, should I say. But that's how you learn. And you curl up in a ball, and Glenn was giving instruction, do this, put your hand up here, protect your head, curl up, put your legs up, bring your knee up. And there was probably half a dozen people standing around trying to kick you, trying to jump in and punch you. And look, it was controlled. It wasn't completely out of control, but you certainly got a few kicks. So
it made the achievement real. Like you saw, saw a result. Like, I mean, you didn't walk away cocky, but you go, yeah, that was as real as it could get.
Yeah, and it was great. It was there was so many things like that. It was just, I loved it, and I just kept going back and back and back and back.
Was there ever a moment in those early, like you said, it was hard, but that was all you knew. But was there ever a moment, like you said, you'd go home and like, wherever, like your family or what, and they're going, why are you doing this? And did they ever go, did you ever stop and go, actually, why am I doing this?
I remember my mum a few times. I'd get home because I'd catch the train home from the city. So, we lived out in Vermont, which is, I don't know, probably an hour on the train, maybe. So
Mm.
I'd go home, finish training, it'd be from 6 till, I don't know, 7:30, whenever it was. And then by the time I got to the station, it was sort of 8:30. And then get the train. So I'd be home at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I had to walk from the station to my place, which was about, a kilometre and a half away, I reckon, nearly 2 kilometres. And I'd get home some nights and Mum would go, well, are you all right? And I go, oh, yeah, I just got demeanour karate again. She'd go, why? And I go, I love it. I said, there's just something about it. And look, the chief was just amazing. And I know, we've both been fortunate to spend time with a great man. And he became, and he probably still is, he's like more than my father was ever to me. So I look at the chief as a father figure to me now. And, the gifts he's given me over the years just been I spend time with him and go away into Thailand and that sort of thing. So it was like spending time with my dad, except, he used to punch you. So
Yeah, well, there's that. Did you kind of feel that as the time went on, like you said, you had a couple of breaks for whatever reason and that sort of thing, but was there those times where it was, no matter, even though you weren't training, you were still involved, you were still communicating with people? When,
yeah,
Sendo Kai, BJMA, as we both know, is very prominent and very well known for its brotherhood feeling and, the crosses and, all that thing that goes with it. Was that something that kept you into and like still keeps you in today? Like, like look at us talking now,
yeah.
Just that relationship we formed.
And it is. It's. I love the organisation. I can't train like you guys do anymore. My body's pretty much stuffed, but I love being involved with it. I love going to the training days, and I do the first aid now at the state gradings and the training days that I can get to. So for me, that's what I can give back to the organisation from a health and safety point of view. We've talked about getting policies and procedures. So that's what I can do now, I suppose, is more than the physical stuff. So, but the camaraderie and you like Eddie Woodford and that, like he sent me a message the other week and we were just messaging on Facebook about it, and it was like he's a beautiful human being, and to have him just chatting away, just message to see how it's going and stuff. So it was pretty cool. And there's people all over the world like that. So that's what I love about it. And yeah, and this whole COVID thing, while it's been really crappy for you guys that run full-time centres, for us who don't go to like down to Smack or up to Shikara or something, we get to watch you guys, and to have Richard and Billy out there doing stuff.
Oh.
To me, that's you'd pay $200 to watch Richard or Billy run a session
Without thinking.
Yeah, and so and I think that's the great gift of the organisation now, is the hierarchy with Billy and Richard and the chief. They're not giving back, I suppose, but they're embracing all this new stuff and doing it. And I know Richard, been in movies, so it's not a big deal for him to jump in front of a camera. But for Billy to be out there doing it in front of a camera and without students around him, it blows me away. And his skill, I think he's gone to another level in his teaching, Billy, over the last few years, but definitely since this COVID thing, he's just been amazing.
It's just a moment you've got to rise to the occasion, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what the organisation's done. It's the old adage, improvise, adapt, and overcome, and that's what they've done. The guys, you guys are running classes online, and anyone in Australia, around the world, can jump in and look at it and do it and train with you guys.
And like you said, it's just been that thing. You either, and speaking to people like Richard, you either do it or not get left behind, like as a business competitor, but you just get left behind in your own progression. It's been unreal. Let's move forward, Mr. Ritchie.
Yes.
Life takes life swings and roundabouts, and for some reason you end up being a Victorian police officer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, that was weird. How did that come about? I never thought about being in the police force. I was playing football, AFL football, the proper football, at Australian rules football at a local club, Templestowe here in, I don't know, must have been 80, 81, 80, no, I don't know when it was. And when I joined the police force in 83, so say 81, 82. And the president of the footy club was a copper. And he said, so what are you going to do with your life? I said, I don't know. I was, 21 or something. I said, I'm just going to play footy. He goes, you're a stupid boy. And he said, look, you should join the police force. And I went, yeah, no, thanks. No, doesn't interest me. So the next week he came with the application forms and he said, I've signed them. You need to sign here. And you've got an interview next week at the local police station. So that was it. Jeff Jury was the president, and Jeffy said, sign here, otherwise you won't be playing, or we're not paying you to play. And I went, I think I was getting about $80 a game there, which in the early 80s wasn't too bad. So I said, all right, I'll sign. And thought I'll never get in. 12 months later, I was started at the police academy. So it was amazing. That's how I got in. That was it. It was just like, okay, go and sign here and play.
So there really is that it's all who you know kind of little situation happening there.
Yeah, a lot of it. I honestly never thought of it, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, obviously you proved your worth. So 17 years you're in the coppers.
Yeah.
Give us the abridged 17 years.
The first 12 were pretty good. The last 5 pretty crap. So the first 12 I loved it. We worked hard. We played hard. I worked at a really inner suburban station. Suburban? Yeah, in a suburban Melbourne, Northcote. Mm-hmm. And if I had bought properties in Northcote then, I'd be a multi-millionaire. But anyway, so did that, worked hard, worked with some really great coppers, learned heaps, learned to fight a bit because people wanted to fight me because, 6'2" or 3", whatever I am, and they want to take out the big guy first. So, I used to say, have a crack at the title if you want, but you might beat me, but you won't beat the 20 blokes that are coming along after me. So, that was it. Sometimes it works, sometimes you have to fight. So that was great.
Keep training the whole time?
Yeah, I was doing, I trained with a guy called Bruce Haynes for a while. Did some stuff with Bruce and it was good fun. So I was fit. I was really fit. So I really, really loved it. And it was great. And then we moved down to Torquay in the early 90s, 93 or something, for a sea change. We did the first of the sea changes. Moved down there, was married, had the kids, and we that was it. We were going to have a nice, relaxing lifestyle. My wife had just left the police force, and she was going to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mum, and look after the kids, and I'd go off and be a policeman. So transferred to Geelong, which is like the biggest city down here, outside Melbourne. Was there 3 months, and one night just went, this is not a good night, and then got bashed pretty badly, and that was it. So from the last 5 years, I tried to stay in the job, couldn't. End up getting pensioned off on a disability pension. So that was it. So I got out in 2000, pensioned off. Retired ill health, as they say.
But you still don't regret joining the coppers and doing all the good bits of it?
No, mate. No, I've over the years, probably early on, I did. I got bashed in 95. So in 25 years this year. So I've had a lot of time to digest it and deal with it. I've dealt with it really bad ways in the past. Now I deal with it pretty well. But I think out of it, I've become a better person from it, from being in the police force, from getting bashed. I used to be very angry with the world. And, now it's like, oh, well, it's okay. The world's not a bad place. So.
And I guess we'll talk about it more when we finish up, where people can find more information about you and what you do. But you've obviously channeled that through some writing that you've done, and you've got the Better Me project. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Like you said, it does take a bit of time. Like you said, it's 25 years this year, but it just sometimes takes a time to make that positive out of a negative, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And early on, the doctor, after I was diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress, and for the first 5-10 years, the doctors said to my wife, he's going to be a vegetable. He will sit on the couch. He will never be able to do anything again. He's that bad. And so I was drugged out for a lot of years. So, and now I'm, doing all right. So it's good.
Is there a time, before we move on to the next one, I guess,
yeah, man.
the thing that the thing that I talk about people like this, and like, I mean, martial arts is so much more than punching and kicking. Was there times where, even though, like, you know, physically you were not feeling well, mentally you obviously were far from feeling well, did that whole martial arts side of things, like the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the warrior spirit, to not sound too cliche,
Yeah.
did it help? Did it, you know, if you hadn't have done martial arts, do you think you'd be in a different place?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The support I've had from the organisation, and I'll mention his name, Matt Ball, because we both
Mm,
love him. He's been a godsend to me over the years,
yeah.
looking after me and helping me out. And Kylie, his wife, beautiful wife as well. They've
Mm,
really been really supportive, and yeah, I just can't thank him enough. And the chief, I was very fortunate when he was still living in Shogun to go there a few times and just sit on the couch and we just talked and just chatted, and it was great. So to have that and have the organisation, guys, 18 months ago, and have a heart attack. I was nearly died, but anyway, that was close. But I woke up in hospital. I was in hospital for a couple of days, and then I woke up one morning and Matt Ball's standing there, and I sat up to give him a big hug, and so I gave him a hug, and then I looked over his shoulder, and Richard Norton's standing there,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, have I died? Because Richard's here, or am I really going to die because he's come to give me the last rites or something?" And he just come in with Matt to just say, "Hey, how you going?" And to me, that just shows the measure of those two people, just to come in, say hello, how you going, and they were there for half an hour, and it was great. And I've got a couple of really good pictures, and Luke, my son, he'd flown back in from the Navy, had flown him back from, I think they took him to Christmas Island and flew him straight
Mm,
back, because
mm.
for a couple of days it was a bit iffy, if I was going to live, but anyway, it was all right. So to have Richard and Matt there was amazing. And then the chief, when he had his newsletter, and he mentioned me in his newsletter, and it's just like, wow, that's I'm just one person in this massive organisation, but to me that was very special. That was very, very special.
And they just do that for no other reason than
Yeah,
just because they can.
because they can and because they care, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's what I love about it. We try and get up to Queensland every year for you guys for the gradings and that, just for support, just to come.
Mm.
I mean, we love coming up there just to hang with you guys, and the weather's a lot nicer usually than down here, but just to hang out with you guys and Brad and Jim, and all the other guys up there and girls up there, it's amazing. I love it.
And we love you coming up too, Brett, because whenever we have an auction, we all
Oh,
walk away with 10
yes.
pockets. For those
Yeah.
of you who don't know, Brett Ritchie is the proud owner. I'm surprised he hasn't got him sitting under the bloody table or something.
Mate, they're just over there, actually. Just over there.
He's the proud owner of a pair of size used by none other than Richard Norton. And I think it was a very good thing that he did that night when he paid a sum, which we won't mention, but we all know
We
what
won't
it
mention
was.
it. No, it was a lot. It was a lot.
But it was
But worth every cent.
it was to help a past student of mine that unfortunately lost a long battle, so to help
Yeah.
his family out. So that was again
Yeah.
a testament to what sort of man this fella is. Now,
I think I'm going to
what were you
tear
going
up
to
in a
say?
minute. No, I'm going to. No, that was really emotional. I was,
It
yeah.
was,
I
mate.
mean, on the night it was. I knew what I was buying,
Yeah,
and the history behind the size, but in the back of my mind was, this is going to help a family who's
yeah.
lost someone to something that I struggle with. So
Mm,
yeah, it was pretty
no,
special.
no. You go all right, Mr. Ritchie. You go all right. And while we're on that, tell me something you're passionate about.
Oh,
For those
you
of you
know,
you can't see, he's got an A4 page of notes. It's
I
got
should just hold it up, shouldn't I? Just like this, it's like that. So
seriously.
it's an A, because I had to write, because my memory is not real good anymore. When I got bashed, like literally, there was about 30 or 40 blokes, and as I say, I got the first 20, then got tired, so that's when they overtook me. But um, they really kicked me around the head, so my memory is not as good anymore, and I forget things constantly. But
Mm.
so that's why I write it down. So
No, it's good.
passionate about probably mental health and reducing the stigma attached to it, because for a lot of years I didn't tell people that I didn't know. Most of my friends knew, because they went, "You're crazy." But a lot of people didn't know, and I put on a mask, and that's what happens with people who suffer any type of mental illness. A lot of them put on masks to get through the day.
Because you were attacked mid-90s,
Yeah,
and without, I'm trying to figure the right word to say it. People probably, well, would you say it's probably only in the last maybe 10 years,
yeah,
people have become much more aware of
yep,
mental health and are,
yeah,
as a result, not afraid to talk about it as much as they would. I
yeah,
know in 1995, if maybe someone else had spoken to me about mental health, it'd be like you said before, like that whole, oh, okay,
mm,
harden up, get over it,
yeah,
mate, or something
and
like
that's
that. And I'm
and the
sure you
police.
encountered that a bit in the police.
Yeah, heaps. The police didn't know how to deal with PTSD, and look, I wasn't the only one. There was so many of
Mm.
my mates are in and still suffering. But there was like, oh, what's the matter with you? There's nothing wrong. Come back to work. And yeah, I just couldn't. So I'm passionate about mental health and reducing the stigma attached to it. Just reading off my notes here. But we've also we've got a block of land up in Clune, just out of Ballarat. So it's about an hour
Yep.
and a half from home, and it's 40 acres. So my plan is to build like an eco-friendly living place up there, like to live up there and live off grid and be as much self-sufficient as I can. So that's one thing that's what I want to do,
Okay.
and it's starting to
Um,
happen. So that's good.
yeah, we often see pictures on Facebook. I definitely know the fireworks up there well, and I don't know if there's a red wine fruit tree or something up there, mate, but there always seems to be a glass of red hanging
Well,
out.
yeah, and I'm heading back up there tomorrow for the rest of the week. So yeah, I'm going back up there for 4 or 5 days just to chill out and do nothing, cut some firewood, sit around a fire, drink my wine, watch the kangaroos in the morning and night, and that'll be about it. So it'll be
Is it,
nice.
is it just a reset button?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, stuck it up, and I've been very fortunate. And I know we'll touch on it a bit later about the world situation. It hasn't really affected me too much. So it's for me, it's just getting away in the van. The van's up there now. The caravan's up there, so I just go and
Yeah.
sit up there, and it's my kids say it's glamping because it's it's only small caravan, but it's got everything. Toilet, shower, washing machine, heater, TV. So it's nice just to go up there and chill out and do absolutely nothing, wander
Yeah.
around all day. So apparently I have to put pants on now in case someone turns up, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, as one of my conditions for the Zoom meetings, mate, pants are optional. We have no idea right now, so
Well,
just
that's it.
leave
See, no, I did put pants on today, and
Good on you.
I had to go to Bunnings earlier, so Bunnings still don't have a no pants policy. So
How dare they? How dare they?
I know, it's very
They've got
rude.
every other policy now, don't they?
Oh yeah, God, there was 400 people there. It's like, really, why do we even bother this social distancing? But anyway, so that's
mate.
what I'm passionate about, that, and about mental health and my and the block, and creating a nice place to live. And then so when you guys come down, you and Helen come down and go, hey, you want to come out? Just come out, and there'll be accommodation there we can just chill out and do nothing, just sit around a fire and talk, which I think is so therapeutic.
That is the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dreams are made of. Just tell me one more question about mental health. If there is one, I'm trying to think of the right words to say this and not sound degrading. If there is one word that you would say to somebody who is afraid, for want of a better word, to talk about how they're really feeling and their mental health, what would be your words you would say to them? And these are probably words you've had to say to yourself as well.
Yeah. It depends on what stage you're at with dealing with it all. It is really hard to accept that I used to think I was okay, but it was the drugs that were keeping me sane. And then when I stopped taking them, they go, back to the hospital you go, Brett. So it's knowing that there can be an end to it if you want to be. If you want to, some people unfortunately become a victim, and it just becomes a cyclical thing, and that's all they think about is being the victim. And there's no hope for me. I'm useless. But I'd say to people, there is hope. I mean, they told me I would never work or do anything valuable again with my life for years. Doctors and psychiatrists, that's what they said. And I went, stuff this. That's bullshit. It took a lot of time. So now I say to people, there is hope. You can get over it. You can live a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
You can live a fulfilling life. I still have bad days, nowhere near as bad as what I used to have, but some days you think, oh God, why? I don't want to get out of bed, but you do, and you get up and you go and do stuff, and it's great. So, and it certainly beats the other option, which is not being here. And, that's just, and unfortunately, in the organisation, we've lost a couple of people to that. And it's just absolutely devastating. Someone told me once the only person who it's the ultimate ego trip for the person who commits suicide, because they're the only one that gets anything out of it. They get to leave the pain behind, whereas everyone else has to deal with what happened. So there is hope, I suppose, is what the wording would be.
And like you said, it just comes down. I always say it comes down to just how we manage it in the end, doesn't it? Like you said, you're still 25 years on. You have your bad days, but now I'm sure you manage them a lot better than you did 24 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't even know what I was doing 24 years ago. I was just like, what the hell? But anyway, it's all good now. It's great. So great. There is hope. There is hope. Don't give up.
Very happy to hear that. All right. I might have touched on this a bit already, but give me something else. What's on your bucket list? Do you have a bucket list?
I was trying to think, and I thought I've done really a lot of things that I always wanted to do.
A lot of people. I would say if your bucket list is ringing the bell at Laundry Bar, I reckon you've done that 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the Laundry Bar's in Thailand, for people who don't know, and it's a wonderful little place that we go to, and basically we take over the bar for the whole time we're there. And I think the owners don't have to work for the rest of the year after
they close.
They close because they've made that much money out of us. But it's a great place. I think the bucket list I've written down, probably live in different countries for a few months at a time, and not all of them, because there's not a lot of places. I don't want to go to America. It doesn't interest me at all. But say go to Thailand, Vietnam, Bali for a few months, and Spain and Portugal. It's just 2 of the countries that I could go and live there for 2 or 3 months at a time. That'd be it, and I'd be happy with that. So
why do those countries interest you over the likes of the States and that sort of thing?
I think the States is just like just like Australia on steroids, and with their crazy president. So I don't really. He's a nutter. Anyway, so, and Thailand I love. I've been there a dozen or more times now, and I just absolutely love it. I love the people, love the culture, and so I could go and live there for a couple of months and then go to sort of Vietnam. I've never been to Vietnam, so I'd like to go to Vietnam and just experience, and not live in a resort, just go and live in nothing, a 3-star hotel or something.
Yeah, it's not going
and then.
Well.
No, I can't do. I'm getting too old for that shit, mate. And then Bali, I've never been to Bali, so
really?
Just go up somewhere. Yeah, no, probably the only Australian that's never been to Bali.
I think you are.
But go up to Ubud or something and just sit up in the mountains and just chill out, just hire somewhere. And Spain and Portugal, and it's probably comes back to the chief, because he's been over there and he talks about it, and he's got pictures, and I just look and go, they sound like really nice places to go to. So, Spain and Portugal probably my Europe, and it's too far on a bloody plane. So unless I'm really up the front of the plane, I don't want to travel that far on a plane.
Yeah, they hurt my knees enough, let alone yours.
Oh, mate, shocking.
When you say like that, the bucket list that we talk about is like, I define a bucket list as it's something you want to do, you might get to do, but you're just not sure if you do it. Do you think that is possible on the radar still?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, probably the next 10 years. I mean, I'm 60 in January, so I've got probably another 40 years or something left. I'm working on the Chiefs theory of, just you don't age from 55 on. You stay that age, and I probably haven't grown up since I was about 18. So I'm not doing it too right. But I just think that doing stuff like that would be really cool. Just to hang out for a few months, and the other thing I want to do was that the question, bucket list question? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to record songs with my daughter. So We want to. She's a really good singer.
Yeah.
She doesn't do it that much at the moment, and I can sort of hold a tune. So I'd love to. We've talked about it in the past. She loves Taylor Swift. I'm going. I'm not doing any freaking Taylor Swift songs, but
What genre would you go, Brett? I see you as a bit of a country kind of man.
oh no, mate, no,
No?
country, no,
No?
God, no.
Hip hop,
Yeah, mate, you can see me a bit of rapping.
Hilltop Hoods or
Uh,
something?
the Hoods, yes. I have never. I don't think I'd ever seen them before live until I saw them on that charity concert, whenever it was. They
Oh
were
yeah,
awesome. They
yeah,
were
mate, they're
really.
amazing.
They were really, and they were just so cool about the whole thing. I sort of went, yeah, they're pretty cool dudes. I'd
They
do
are
that. But yeah, doing that probably. If I sort of Billy Joel, sort of Elton John, sort of,
okay.
I'm not dressing up like Elton.
Thank God.
Well, if I get to Thailand next time, then I'll go and see my tailor and see
I
what he
was
can
going to
whip
say
up.
go to one of the stores and get a suit done. You can do
Yeah,
that.
get a suit done, something like that. So things like that. Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. But Tori's, she's had singing lessons, and so and she's living back down here now, which is good. She was living up near you guys, so
Yeah, right.
she's back home. So yeah, we've sort of talked about it in the past, and that would be really cool. And I'd love to do like kids songs with her.
Yeah.
Just just doing, I don't know, and I have no idea, but maybe
Might,
write a couple of
might be
kids
the next
songs, and
Wiggles. You never know.
yeah. So Wiggles, no thanks. Hey, look, if they pay enough money, you do anything, I
I'll tell
suppose.
you
But
what I mean.
yeah, because they're better than the cockroaches as they used to be.
You're showing your age there, mate.
Yeah, I know. So that's probably it. So yeah, record a song or some songs with Tori.
That's a
Be
great
nice.
one. That's probably, I reckon, one of, because everyone. I interviewed someone Saturday night for this, which is a couple of days ago. For those who are listening, and we have a lot of people that it's travel or it's heritage based.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we've never had we've never had
Never.
that one. You're
Oh, there you
a
go.
first. That's good.
Well, there's a scoop for a world scoop on COVID conversations. Brett's going to do an album, some songs with Tori, and it'll be released. Oh, God knows when, but we'll do it.
The Ritchies.
The Ritchie family. Isn't there a band called the Ritchie family? Anyway, so that's what I want to do. So that'll be really nice.
All right, this is the one that I do want to talk to you a little bit about. You've touched on it a little bit. So the current situation in the world affecting Bretto, how he sees it, how he calls it, and what he might take moving forward. Give me well, you're not, like you said before, you're not totally affected. You are affected, but you're not affected.
Yeah, I'm not really affected. I mean, I haven't lost work. I'm sort of semi-retired, so I don't work full-time anyway.
So you do, I'm not sure if we mentioned it already, but
contracting.
You do OH&S training, workplace training, first aid. So are you still doing any online stuff or?
Not, no, a couple of safety audits. Just going out to a place. I had to do one a couple of weeks ago, so that was just going out there, just wander around inside their premises, do a safety audit on them, and it's all done on an iPad, and then I just go, yep, that's it. So that was a day's work. I ran the construction induction training on Saturday for a company. And I've got one this Saturday. So it's really work-wise, it hasn't affected me too much. There's still enough work, and because it's an essential service, the construction and rail industry. So if I'm needed, I'm available. So from that point of view, I've been very fortunate, and I sort of, guilty is not the right word, but I see so many people with businesses, with hospitality and you guys with clubs, and I go, oh God, I don't know how I'd cope. I really don't. So I feel empathy towards those people who are really struggling. But I think we're almost out of it. I think in the next few months it'll get better.
There seems to be a little bit of a proverbial light getting a little bit brighter by the week.
Yeah.
So does that obviously that line of work, do you see when COVID is more clear a bit, do you reckon will you pick up work, do you think, out of it? There'll be a lot of new policies and setting things safe for COVID and all that sort of, is that something that you're already having to start to look at?
Some a lot of companies have a lot of policies and procedures in place around infectious diseases and that sort of thing. So it's probably just beefing up those policies and procedures. I think from a training point of view, it'll go crazy because people haven't been able to get into courses because we've had to restrict the amount of people actually on a course. So there's going to be a lot of people waiting. I've had 2 calls this week, or it was over the weekend, about doing training for people. So it's starting to pick up. People going, when can we get you back? And it's like, well, I'll get back, when we're allowed to. So I think once this is finally over, I'll be really busy, which is fine. I don't mind that, but I'm not going to go rush out looking for work. If it comes my way, fantastic. So, so I think, that's what I'd say about that bit
Like
of
you
it.
said, a lot of companies would have policies for infectious, diseases and all that sort of thing, but instead of that being on page 30 now or whatever, that might be on page 2. So it's definitely going to be more in front of a lot of businesses' minds now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the pandemic policy. Actually, I might write one of them. It's not a bad idea. What to do?
Got a good ring to it, hasn't it?
Pandemic policy. So I'm sure someone would have thought of it. But anyway, it will be. There'll be a lot more rigorous stuff around policies and procedures. But I think eventually, like in 12, 18 months, I think this will just be, oh, wow, you remember 2020? What a shit year that was. And everyone will be back to normal. And people will be doing stuff. People go, oh, yeah, you won't see hand sanitizer at Bunnings and Officeworks when you go in there. It'll just be back to normal.
It'll just take a little while for that dust to settle. This is what I've been saying to my guys, and just friends of mine, just, before you race out, at the first instance, just give it a little while for just that honeymoon period to sort itself out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think? I mean, I'll talk about another thing in a minute, but you've seen a bit of the world from a few different hats. What do you hope, or what do you think we will take away, or what will you take away from it?
One of the big things is that socialising doesn't have to be done in person anymore. The quarantinis is a great thing. It was great the other 2, not Saturday, one before, I think it was 10 or 12, 15 or whatever, and just sat on Zoom for 2 hours talking, having a couple of drinks, laughing. And I think socialising that's going to become the norm a lot more. And I know even with my kids, they've been Zooming and FaceTiming so much more than they ever did. And it's great because I said, Luke lives in Darwin, so I don't see him or Abby or Ollie much at all. So he's been doing it probably once a week, just zooms in and says, hey, how you going? Here's the baby. So I think that's going to be a great takeaway from people.
And would you have done that, I don't know, a year ago? Would you have had a conversation like that?
No, he would ring up, and because he's shocking anyway, but he would ring up and go, hey, how you going? And it's just like this obligation of, I better ring the old man. Or I'd ring him and he'd go, what do you want? And I'm just ringing up to say hello. Now he's doing it, and it's great. We sat there, for half hour, 40 minutes the other night, just chatting, not saying a lot, just talking. And I was making silly faces at the baby, and he was telling me about what for work and what he's doing. So I think that's going to become more normal for people, which is great.
It's forced it upon us, hasn't it? Like I joke and say to people, 8 weeks ago, I didn't even know what Zoom was. And now, click, just all over it. We were talking earlier, I've got an interview with Alex Kostick coming up at a later date. I had to run him through how to download Zoom and run through that and everything. So it's just like, now I'm the Zoom expert. And again, I would have sat on a Skype meeting, I don't know, 6 months ago, and being one of those people that wouldn't put the camera on and would just mute and just listen. Now I go, how rude is that? Like, I'll put the camera on and sit here, and it's like I think it's just it's definitely becoming a thing of normality, which is great.
Yeah, no, look, it's fantastic. And I said to you before we kicked off, do I have to be on camera? Anyway, so that's why my phone sort of gaffer tape to the to my computer screen at the
and
moment.
touch wood, it's hanging in there.
Don't worry, it's mate, it's never going to move. I'll have
It's
to.
not going anywhere.
No, you can have an earthquake here, and that's staying there where it is. So it's good. So I
As long
think
as you don't in 40 minutes go, has anyone seen my phone?
yeah. Right, and I think what I've taken out is people are being kinder to each other. It's people are a lot more understanding now of how people are feeling, which is probably goes back towards the mental health thing, because I think there's going to be some people that are really struggling with the isolation. So
Yeah.
I think generally, I speak in Australia because I don't know what's happening in the rest of the world, but we're being kinder to each other. We're going, okay, look, maybe we should ring dad or mum or brothers, sisters, whoever, mates, and just say, hey, here you going. So I think from that point of view, that's a positive to come out of this this pandemic. So
Absolutely.
I think people being kinder to each other.
Have you noticed any instances of that yourself? Like you said, you've been talking to your kids more, but just have you noticed any instances of the way people are behaving to each other a bit better?
Yeah, I think, and like you go for a walk down the street, and people wouldn't normally people go, hey, how you going? It's like, hey, good, and you sort of keep your 1.5 meter distance, and
but then you walk past and go, what just happened?
what did that person talk to me? So I think that's a really big thing. It's made us more. We talk about the global community, but I think even from a local level, the community spirit is a lot stronger just from people from walking around the streets with people. The other one thing I did pick up though is that what I have learned is in a pandemic, if we have the apocalypse, toilet paper is the highest priority. So don't worry about food. Don't worry about food or anything else. Get your toilet paper so you can wipe your bum.
And I always say toilet paper and broccoli, Brett. Broccoli at one point was hitting $14 a kilo.
Wow.
So if you want to, there won't be any such thing as truffles. It'll be broccoli, mate. That'll be
broccoli. So that was the other thing. Yeah, the toilet paper is the apocalyptic item that everyone should have.
Who knows, mate? Who knows? The only other thing I wanted to touch on was with the COVID. You are an advocate for mental health. You touched on it a little bit just before. Again, not like necessarily a piece of advice, but people who are struggling, and like you said, you would have you've seen people in your previous life, and you've seen people now, and even I've had days where one day you go, oh, we're great, next day you go, this is fuck.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What advice would you give to them? Like like you said, you've sort of seen the simplicity of the world now. What advice would you give them from a mental health advocate point of view?
One, ask for help if you need it. Don't think you're ever alone, because you're not. There's always someone you can speak to, whether it's a counsellor, whether it's just a friend, a mate, girlfriend, whoever. Always think that there's someone else. You're not the only person out there. And I think for people who are struggling now is just get out and go for a walk.
Yeah.
The walking, they say, is the best thing for your mental health, one of the best things for mental health. Get outside, get some fresh air. Don't stay inside. And I've been guilty of that just in the last few weeks. I've been creating, online stuff. So I've been sitting inside a lot, whereas now I look outside and it's really cold here today, but the sun's out. So I'll probably go for a walk a bit later on. But I think anyone who's stuck inside and struggling mentally, just get outside, go for a walk. It doesn't have to be far. Even if it's the end of your street and back, just get out and do it. And it's easy to say, because if you're suffering depression, that you don't want to go outside because you've got to interact with people. But it's one of the best things you can do is actually get out and go for a walk, and just even if it's to the shops, drive up to the shops and just walk around the shopping centre. You can do that now, apparently. So just do that. That would be what I'd say to people.
And like you said, it's that thing that you're not alone. And I've always said it's surprising when you start to talk about it to somebody, they realise that you're willing to talk about it. So suddenly there's this, me too. And suddenly there's this conversation. And suddenly there's a group of you that are there to support each other because you understand each other.
Yep. Yeah, look, absolutely. And I've had people within the organisation message me over the last 6, 12 months,
Yeah.
just saying, hey, and I might have met them once, and we've just sort of just started chatting, and
Yeah.
I'd say, hey, how you going? It's like, yeah, good, and message them back. So they might say, I've been struggling a bit, and I go, okay, yeah, good, it's all right. You're still here, so let's, you want to talk about it. So I think that's important, is just be able to talk to someone, to just have someone to go, I want to talk to someone. I don't know who to talk to. I'll talk to Brett because he's got a pretty good understanding of mental health and what, and not, you don't know what every person's going through, but it's the similar lines. And with my book that I wrote, I've had mates of mine ring me and go, yeah, that's me. What in your book? You said it was like reading my life story, and I go, yeah, I know, because a lot of
Yeah.
it's the same.
And I guess that's definitely something that I want people to know about. So tell us how they find out a little bit more about you and what you do.
Well, you can go to the bettermeproject.net in there, and there's some meditations. And when I'm going up to the block this week, I'm actually taking my iPad away, and I'm going to actually record some more meditations. So, the kids don't think I've got a soothing voice, but other people do. So I'll do some of them and do that. So they'll be up there. There's some free ones. There's there's my book to buy, which is Me and PTSD, which is sort of it's a pretty easy. I say it's an easy read. It's not hard. It's not that long, but it took me 2.5, 3 years to write. So that's there for people to go and have a look at, and if they want to buy it, it's $8 or something. And it just says what happened to me and how I dealt with all the shit that I went through, and how I got to where I am today. So, so that's there. And the other one's nationaltraining.com.au is an online training academy I've created during COVID. So it's up there. There's some health and safety stuff up there. There's some courses. There's some free meditations to download. There's a radiation awareness course that's free that I created. So I'm a qualified radiation safety officer, advanced radiation safety officer. So apparently I can work in a nuclear facility. So
come in handy if we ever need to go back to the future, mate. Can't it?
Well, that's it, mate. I'll get the flux capacitor happening. So that'll be good. So I've created a lot of courses for companies I've worked for over the years, and I've just thought I'm going to put them all online. So some of them you pay for, like there's a manual handling one, there's a dangerous goods one, and they're all based around what the actual standards are in Australia. So, but there's some free stuff up there as well. So that's nationaltraining.com.au.
That's awesome, Brett. So, guys, I'd like to thank Brett for his time, mate. As I said, I haven't known you for terribly long, but I feel like I have known you for much longer. It's a pleasure to have had a chat to you. You were on the list from the start. It was just a process of working through it. But it's been great to hear your story and great to hear more about it, because I think I'll be honest with you, it's something that I've known about you since we first met. But like you said, it's one of those things that sometimes you just don't know how to start that conversation with people. And I think, like you said about mental health, once you start that conversation, you'll be surprised how much it helps just to talk about it.
It is, and that's what I do now. I don't love talking about it because but if it helps other people not go through, spend 25 years of dealing with shit, we can short circuit it. So I do a bit of coaching for people, and that's sort of part of it. And once this COVID thing's over, I'll start doing some public speaking gigs as well. So
that'll be great, Brett.
Yeah. So, no, mate, thank you so much. It's been an awesome time, and no alcohol involved. So, imagine the conversation if we had been sitting at the laundry bar or something doing this.
Oh, my God. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, actually, it would be a great conversation. I wouldn't say better, but a different conversation.
Yes. Yeah, no, it'd be good fun. So, mate, thank you so much for having me on your show.
No, not a problem, mate. So, guys, if you want to hear more of these and you like what you hear, you can keep listening on my YouTube channel, which is very complicated. It's just Kyl Reber. That's Kyl. Yes, there's no E. Yes, I know there's no E. Yes, that's the name my mother gave me. That's just, yes, I know, Kyl, yes.
Yes.
You can go to that kylreber.com.au, or you can find me on Facebook. And yes, it doesn't have an E on there either, making it one very easy name to find. Thanks very much
Exactly.
for listening, guys. Mr. Ritchie, always a pleasure. Cup from cup.
Kopkun Cup, my friend.
And we
Thanks,
will
brother.
see you guys later.